I'm J.R. Campbell. I am the Executive Director for the Design Innovation Initiative at Kent State University. We at Kent State actually had a 2-year-long process for the construction of the Design Innovation Hub. 16 months into that process is when everyone was asked to leave campus essentially as a result of the COVID-19. What we originally had been thinking of as an opportunity for us to have an on-site grand opening kind of gala really had to change. We wanted to do something innovative, something virtual, and still have an experience that would be meaningful for helping people to understand, why we engaged in this project. In that process, I had met with Curtis and learned a little bit about B360 Tour. We realized that it would be amazing for us to essentially, instead of just thinking of our grand opening as being something that's just for the community in Kent, Ohio, that with the use of the virtual walkthrough technology, we could essentially basically have a virtual grand opening that was open to the whole world. I would say we had quite a few questions about how we could make this work for a virtual grand opening experience. Our goal was not just to be able to have people be able to kind of navigate like a Google Street Map view and walk through the building, but to really have the entire thing be an experience. So some of our early questions or reservations were, how much could we insert our own content into this experience? And whether that's videos or links to other pages or whatever it would be. And one of the things that we learned is that there's a lot of capability to be able to incorporate sort of active content into the models, and so that was really helpful for us. I think I really had a couple of main goals and agendas with what we were trying to do through the planning process and through the execution of this project. One of the goals, design innovation at Kent State, is all about how we host and sponsor opportunities for students and faculty and staff to engage in cross-disciplinary, team-based work to solve problems. So we really wanted to be able to think about how we could use this model, this virtual model, as a way to communicate our values. And on top of that, part of my goal as a leader in design innovation at Kent State was also to think about how we could use this as an example for what the rest of the university could do to map the entire university through this process and really create a virtual visitation experience that could be engaging for anybody who wanted to find out about the university, whether they're in Cleveland or Beijing. Process-wise, I think my goal was to find a way to partner with B360 Tour so that they weren't just like a vendor that was doing a service for us, but that we actually became part of a collaborative process to think about how we could not just use the opportunity of the scanned walkthrough models, but also how we could really play inside of it. And so I wanted to involve some of our students in the process of learning about the tools and thinking about the content creation. And I also wanted to use it as an opportunity for us to push the limits of what I knew was already possible with the existing model. So we set a specific date to release the virtual model. That was our virtual grand opening date. You may be able to imagine at a university as large as Kent State, when we have a brand new kind of building renovation that was a very large and new project, part of what we had to do was think about how we were representing the whole university and what that experience would normally be like. Normally would have, a ceremony on campus. The president of the university would speak. Our members of the board of trustees and any external and state-based constituencies would have a role in this. We had to think about how do we incorporate the needs of the university to have a recognized event through this platform, essentially. And that process was a little interesting. When we first started working with the software, we realized that we could incorporate video clips and that it would be easy to access through websites. We knew we could publish it in a way that we could make available on a specific day, and it would be easy for people from anywhere to access. The bigger leap actually partly was convincing some of the organizing team at the university how to manage those needs for the speeches. On the day, normally an event like this at this university probably would have gathered maybe 300 people for a specific ceremony. And the cool thing was that once we made the model go live, which happened at 11 a.m. on November 11th, within a day already had well more than double that of viewers who came in and were able to see and experience the model, the virtual model. Also, the cool thing is that it stays accessible on our website. Since then, we've had more than 2,000 visitors who have spent an average of like 12 to 15 minutes walking through the virtual model. That is way more engagement than we would have had with any individual had we done an on-site experience. So I think it changed the way we were thinking about the promotion of this building and what the experience was. The scanning and capturing of the Design Innovation Hub wasn't the very first building that Curtis and his team scanned on campus. There was already an interest, which was relatively obvious, for our residence halls to be able to do virtual scans of the spaces for students to be able to visualize what the dorm rooms would be like as a part of the recruitment and admissions process. Between admissions and design innovation, what we did collectively was help to create examples of why it would be useful to scan much more of the university, if not all of it, and basically create a university-wide model or a series of connected models, let's say. The interactivity that we were able to create inside the DI Hub, I think, became crucial to the conversation about how we could use this approach university-wide. And so that helped for essentially creating a university-wide contract that's centrally managed through our admissions and recruitment offices as a way to think about how we present the university to the outside world. In our own model, in the Design Innovation Hub, we're now kind of in the second phase of what we're doing with the B360 tour model for design innovation. The virtual grand opening gave us the opportunity to have a lot of intro videos. We had our students and our DI crew, the student employees, and our DI fellow students record videos that were very kind of informal and a way just to kind of connect and get people to understand a little bit about the building. Now we're in a phase where we're actually going to have a new release or a new promotion of the DI Hub for people to come back and see what kind of projects have been going on. And so the students have been recording new videos, showing some of the really interesting mixed reality things that we can do in our blank lab, or the different kinds of possibilities in the building. And again, it means that we can show those to anyone, anywhere in the world in a way that we wouldn't have been able to do if we only relied on the individuals who were brave enough to walk into the building and figure it out on their own. One of the things that I was most excited about for a feature that's inside the model for the virtual grand opening was how we were able to use video to kind of connect with the space. We had an exhibition that was a really big exhibition that had just returned from a year-long stint on Ellis Island in New York in the National Immigration Museum. We were able to install that exhibition physically in the space, even though we knew we weren't going to be able to have any actual physical gallery visitors. We inserted a video that allowed people to basically start at the point of the exhibition beginning and go and walk through that experience as part of their virtual model. I see it as an opportunity for us to continue to add new ways of, every time we have a new exhibit or otherwise, we can incorporate that into the model. My goal with design innovation is also to really think about how this is a meaningful tool for students who are from a lot of different disciplines. The competencies of being able to use this interface in the future actually can be applied in a lot of different ways. We've learned, for instance, via the team at B360 Tour, that not only have they built a platform around college rentals and thinking about real estate kind of engagement, which I think is well founded, but thinking about how also these tools and technologies have meaningful use for things like insurance claims and tracking change in environments from scan to scan, or so the accuracy and the photo real sort of experience that you can capture from this together means that there are a lot of different kinds of sort of outcomes that can be explored. And I think in that sense, it's really our goal to partner and think about how we can help students gain more capability in using these tools, and also inspire them in really creative and entrepreneurial ways to think about how they can do something new and different with it. As we've learned more about the B360 tour, our goal really is to have students from every discipline come in and use our makerspaces and our tools so that they can bring completely different perspectives to how we would approach or solve problems, right? And in that process, what I think we can do, and really what I hope we will do for the university, is become this kind of centralizing creative support mechanism for how the whole university can manage their models, virtual models in different environments. Residence halls may have a specific need and use that's different, for instance, from the chemistry and physics buildings, and those sort of things. So how can design innovation and a student team that has helped to be trained in these tools serve as sort of assistance or creative support for each of these different areas? I think that's really the goal of where we want to go next. The entry point for us to get involved here definitely was about how we were responding to a pandemic situation and in regards to our virtual to the grand opening needs for this building, right? The virtual grand opening was a result. What we have come to realize is that the B360 tour model that we have of the DI hub is something that has value way beyond that singular need. And so you can imagine, for instance, on the recruitment side for students, just making the building and all of our tools and technologies visible, it means that if you're a prospective student and you're looking at this from whatever country you're living in, without having to physically come to Kent, Ohio, you have a good sense of what the university feels like and looks like, and also what tools and resources are available. So I think that is something that will continue and be of value forever. And we can also continue to grow that. Slightly less kind of strategic on the university-wide side, one of the things that we realized kind of profoundly is that this is also a way that we can build awareness and collaboration with my colleagues at other institutions. By having the virtual model, I actually make visible a building that some of my peers may not ever get a chance to physically visit, but it helps us to generate a conversation and an awareness of how we're managing these kind of academic makerspace environments at different universities. I actually see this as being an opportunity for us to start actually doing 3D virtual walkthrough scans of a lot of different academic makerspaces at multiple universities as a way for us to think about how we're linking up our resources, or at least how we're describing some of our best practices and experiences. In that sense, I think it gives us a platform or a way to exist that is much more connected and transcends just the physical boundaries of the campus. What we thought was originally going to be a one-time maybe response to the global pandemic ultimately has changed the way that we're going to do everything going forward. I would recommend that the value of B360 Tour is incredibly useful for any university or college, and definitely recommend considering whether or not this makes sense for whatever your situation is. The value or the advantage, I think, of working specifically with the B360 Tour team is this is a company that is still in an entrepreneurial growth stage. There's a lot of listening happening and a lot of flexibility in how they're thinking about the future of the use of the platform. And as a result, that means that they're pretty open to thinking about how they can incorporate suggestions and really respond to the needs of the customer.